Welcome in Tuesday edition, Hot Ice. We talked about this from the beginning that we wanted to dive in to the baseball slate. It has worked. I'm 10 of 12 best bets. It's on a 3-game win streak. Carl's on a 4-game win streak. As you notice, Carl is not here. The other thing we wanted to do was bring in all the different baseball minds as the headlines apply. Biggest headline of the day: Philly has got rid of Joe Girardi, or as Mike Francesa would say, Georgia Roddy. So Philly, though, weirdly, off a 3-game win streak, bring in Smitty to kind of give his take here. 4-game win streak. Okay.
4-game. Yes. Thank you for substituting someone who threw mid-90s and played D1 with someone who couldn't hit 80 with his gick dependent on it.
Yeah, but you're all guy. When we put you in the lineup, come get fucking hit, all right? You got 2 picks today. But either way.
I'm a guy.
You are. So Philly's obviously a storyline. We talked about this. They're kind of running hot. Like, what do you make of Rob Thompson? Because obviously you're in my division, okay? 11.5 back. I don't think you can realistically think you can make a run, but you're 4.5 back from the wild card, but you're also tied with the Pirates. So there's a lot of like, hey, if we get it together, we could do well. But there's also 2 months of like, hey, you've been pretty shitty. So I guess I'm looking at a fan's perspective here of what's going on.
Hey, first of all, shots fired at the Pirates, who were playing surprisingly.
Yeah, what a ricochet at the Pirates.
Second of all, you mentioned somebody. Who did I think of? Who?
Rob Thompson.
Who?
I don't know. What do you?
I didn't fucking know either until the Phillies fired Girardi and brought him up, because Rob Thompson has been the bench coach for Joe Girardi for the past 45 years. And Ev, when I asked you about him, you were like, yeah, he's a bench coach. It's like, okay, is there anything else? Nope, he's just a bench coach. And when they fired Girardi, I was a little surprised that they would bring him up, because he has been Girardi's right-hand man. He just wanted to shake things up. Record aside, 3-0 since the firing, 4-game win streak overall. What I've been hearing about Rob Thompson has lightened the cockles a lot. It's given me a little bit of a fire, because everybody who has ever played for him has said, A, he's deserved a chance, and B, he's a baseball fucking machine, goat, great guy, whatever you want to call it. When you have guys like Teixeira, who on an interview recorded a couple years ago is basically ball washing Rob Thompson for his A, baseball mind, and B, how he commiserates within the clubhouse. I mean, you got to love that. There's no reason for Teixeira to go out of his way and just compliment a guy like Rob Thompson. When you have Bryce Harper giving sly, under-the-radar quotes like, oh, well, it's nice that our young guys are able to play and do something out there, like repeatedly since Girardi's been fired. You can see the on-field presence being made already, but off the field, it has been a bit of a surprise, and I'm very interested to see how it goes. Originally, when this firing was made, I thought, okay, Rob Thompson, 1 year done, is what it is. But this guy has a shot to do something. He's been waiting around for decades for his shot. Fucking give it to him. Let's fucking go, baby. And hopefully it works out. Girardi has been described as like a clock in, clock out guy. He won't like go out to dinner with the players on road trips. He'll basically just go to his hotel room, sit by himself. All well and good. And you can manage that way sometimes. Rob Thompson's a guy who like gets in the grid of things, asks you how you're doing, goes out for a beer once in a while. Players are going to want to play for him. And it's shown early, and hopefully the guy gets a shot. The guy does not look like a Major League Baseball manager. He looks like he's fucking managing the Delco Balkaholics softball team. But I'm happy, and we're hoping the results can stay this way.
So I guess realistically, like, shot at the wild card, what percentage do you give yourselves?
Oh, I give them a very, very good percentage of the wild card.
Oh, really?
They 21 and 29. They got a bit of a hole, but water finds its level, especially with this lineup. Girardi getting fired won't solve all the problems that they have. That's obvious. The bullpen is still average at best. The hitting's going to be inconsistent at times all year. The defense, it's mind-boggling how this team just can't pop in a VHS tape of Tom Umansky's back-to-back national champions and just watch it on loop before each game, because the fundamental defense of this ball club is abysmal. Plus, Harper tearing his UCL and being out in the field the entire year. I mean, thank God for the DH, so he's able to play. I didn't think Castellanos would be that much of a drop-off in right field. The guy has a pool noodle for an arm. Like you can see exactly how many runs are being chalked up to just him not being able to throw. So they still have their problems, but the schedule is going to start to lighten up. I saw they had like the second easiest schedule behind the White Sox with games remaining. They don't need to do that much the rest of the way to squeeze into the wild card. Yeah, they need to fucking play above 15 games baseball the rest of the way at least. And I think they can do it.
You can get hot and move yourself up. There's a lot of teams in that mix, having been a team in the wild card hunt the past couple of years like that, or at least like that's what you're clinging to. Legacy-wise, Ev, so I know he was a Yankee, obviously a player and a manager, had that World Series early in his career, right?
Yeah, I mean, he was the majority. He was just majority the whole time with the Yankees.
No, but he won one as a
Smitty,
but he won one for you guys as a manager.
109.
Yeah, right. So, but then since then, though, you guys have had a lot of teams, a lot of ups and downs, more like disappointments. Like, what do you make of it? Is it one of those you're like, yeah, you know what, Girardi did okay, or you're like, yeah, he got us a ring, but there was more on the table that he left. Like, where do you sit as a Yankee fan, like with him?
No, I mean, yes, and I mean, it's hard to be upset with a guy when you won a ring. I think him winning that ring probably bought him a couple extra years. It was like by the time he was done, I mean, he had been there 9-10 years, or I think like 9 years, 10 years. He had probably run his course by that time. I mean, listen, I'm not like in love with Boone. Obviously, like this year, we played awesome. I'm not in love with Boone. I wasn't like, I was okay. When Girardi left, I was fine with it. I knew it was coming. Something had to change.
Look, judging by 3.5 or 2.5 years with the Phillies, where he has gone below 500, barely hit 500, and started 21-29 while going into the luxury tax. Combine that with the 85 years he was with the Yankees and only reached one World Series. Granted, it was a win, and their stacked lineups every year.
That 09 team was incredibly talented.
And not just the 09 team, just every year in and out. Yeah, he's making the playoffs with the Yankees. I mean, I think Joe Girardi is a career underachiever. It's the best way you can explain.
But knowing baseball, he will resurface somewhere.
Yeah, and
yeah, probably.
I said underachiever. I think that's not fair because he did have that 1 year with the Marlins where I think he won Manager of the Year. That's blatantly overachieving. He'll get a shot somewhere else. He's still a young guy. And I wish him well because he seems like a really nice guy. But something had to happen.
Right, yeah, it's just one of those. So it could be worse. Like it could be a blow up. And so it's interesting you guys both kind of really – he just wasn't the guy. Like, nice guy, just wasn't the guy, like – so.
Also with the Yankees, too, like he was such a good player for World Series teams, too. So, like, all Yankees fans, like, you had a special place for him. Like, he was the catcher. Like, before Posada, he was, like, the guy forever.
Right.
And, like, he was for a long time.
And Philly sports radio is the lord of revisionist history. And when Kapler was let go, I think it was like 60% were okay with it. 40%, like myself, was like, I would have given him one more year. But when they brought on Joe Girardi, everybody was happy about it. Everybody, whether you want a Kapler gone or not, everybody was thrilled about it. And now people are looking back, we should have kept Kapler. You
can't have it both ways. So that goes. Exactly. But yeah, I mean, he's looking for a job. It's interesting. So it's good. I go in and out.
Yeah, we lost the bus.
You're good now.
Good now. All right. So let's get right into it. Dogs of the day. We both we don't discuss the picks. We were kind of sitting at the desk and everybody's like, yeah, minimal slate. I don't really love it. I'm going to do with what I've kind of been going with of like a team with a plus sign that I respect, that I think is really good. The Cardinals plus 130. Weirdly, they are 16-11 at home. They're 16-12 on the road. They hit 258 away. They hit 249 at home. Their last 10 games, 5.4 runs. The Rays hit 230 at home. Give me the Cardinals plus 130. This is, again, like talk about like principal play. I think they're really good. They're coming off a run. I trust this team to get it done. Smitty, you're the guest. We'll give you the dog.
Tough slate for the dogs. Tough slate. There were a lot of like minus 110, 115s, which Ev, I know you loved, that I think could have been parlayed into dogs. I'll go with the true dog. It's not a big dog. It's not biting your nuts off. It's not Cujo style, but White Sox plus 106.
Okay.
They're at home. They're playing the Dodgers. It's probably the best chance to win this series, even though the Dodgers are befuddling sometimes. You got Kopech on the mound. Give him a shot. Give him a shot. That's a White Sox line, if you can make it out to be. Plus 106, slight dog, little chihuahua. I like how it barks.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about, too, the Dodgers, like these big, bad Dodgers. And don't get me wrong, I think they can make the World Series without a doubt, right? But coming off of a sweep to the Pirates, still go 2-2 to the Mets. You know, like they're not the big, bad bullies here that are killing people in what we've seen. Don't get me wrong. They're a great team. But I thought a little bit more edge, you know, of what they can do. So the White Sox, pesky, I don't hate it.
They still have the best record in NL. You're not going to win 162 games. That's just the way it is. You're probably going to lose a game, a series. And this is the game I think they're going to lose to the White Sox.
Fair enough. Ev, dog of the day.
Oh, the White Sox.
It always happens. Let's go.
It literally always happens, whether it's Carl, Smitty, whoever comes on the show. And I said I didn't love the dogs. Like Smitty said, there was a lot of like 110s that I like, minus 110s. But actually, when I took it this morning, I think it was plus like 114, 115. So I'm feeling good. It's coming in our direction at least. I mean, just big time pitching edge. Like they're like you're going back end Dodger starter versus Kopech, who's been obviously walks a lot of guys, but has some of the most electric stuff in the game. I mean, just absolute strikeout artist, big presence on the mound. And things in the Dodgers, like they've been struggling a little bit. They haven't been playing as good as you probably expect them to over the last like couple weeks. I just think it's a good spot for the White Sox to win. They're at home, clear pitching edge, plus money. I thought it made sense.
All right. Best bets. So I'm 10 out of 12. I did the research. We talked about the streaks, Ev. Do you want me to give a little gamesmanship here? Or do you want me to keep like rallying the troops? Like it's basically a jinx. Do you want me to give the stat to kind of jinx you, or let's just all keep rowing the boat here and stay together? It's been working.
Let's row the boat. Let's win.
All right, keep rowing the boat. Win. You're right. Okay, you're right.
Win.
I'll file that stat away.
Let's win.
It actually is worse for Carl. It's not as bad as you. It could jinx Carl worse, and he's needed it, so I don't want to fuck it up. You're right. I am going to give out a total, which I usually don't do. And again, we talked about get this early. So this line has moved, so we'll officially lock it in at 8. This morning it was at 7.5. I thought it was mispriced. It's minus 113 over 8. Giants, Colorado. Marquez, 6.7 ERA. Rodon, 3.4 ERA. Giants, 3rd in runs. Colorado, 8th in runs. Colorado, 2nd in average. Giants, 12th in average. 2 teams that hit. 2 pitchers that aren't getting people out. Even in San Fran. I know Colorado's like feast of famine. Colorado's been hitting the ball well. San Francisco obviously can score. They grind it out. Over 8. It tells me that it's moved the right way. Obviously, we talked about this. You can get the right things mispriced. That Mets total last week, 7.5. With this one, either way, I like 8. I'm going to give 8. I think it goes fairly over relatively easy. I'm going to go with Giants, Colorado over 8, minus 113. Ev, best bet.
So mine, I had a best bet yesterday. It got rained out. They're playing today at 3. I'm running it back. I'm on the Guardians. It's a 3 p.m. game, the first game of the doubleheader. Cal Control on the mound. Another one, just clear pitching edge. It was a pick-up yesterday over Gray going for the Rangers, who had his home road splits. He's been so much worse on the road. I think he's got like a 4-some ERA total, but it's more like 5.5 on the road. Rangers are kind of weird, but they just blew a big lead in the 9th to the Mariners the other day. Now at this rain out, I don't mind just running it back on the rain out. The pitching matchup's the same. I don't really care that it was going to be last night or it's going to be the first game today. I really like the Guardians. I think I got the line this morning around like minus 115. It was minus 110, so I think it might have even jumped up to minus 125 or more right now. I still like it. I just think the line's off. Like when I saw Pick'em for this pitching matchup, it just made no sense to me. And the Guardians have been hot. They won 6-7. They're playing good ball. They're only 4.5 back of the Twins in that division. I mean, very, very winnable division for them. When people did not have much expectations for them, their pitching overall has been really, really good. I like the Guardians a lot in this spot. Like I said, there's a few plays I liked in that like minus 110, minus 120 range. So I'll also say the Guardians my official pick. Take a look at I really like the Tigers as well, but Guardians official pick.
I think you can day trade in that Central. We talked about it. Like, find a team who's got a weak schedule. The White Sox, like, find whatever. Like, Twins have a hard stretch. Guardians have an easy stretch. I think you could day trade that. Like, hey, I got him at 400. I get him again at 240. Like, I'm telling you, I know you don't want to load up on futures, but find them at a price that they've been. Maybe they're at the highest price for a month, or highest price for a year, or highest price for a couple of weeks, and it can go. It's going to go down in the next couple of weeks. That's my advice. That Central's going to come right down to the last weekend. I don't think anybody's running away with it. Smitty, best bet.
I kind of disagree with you there. I'd say
Really?
load up on the White Sox sooner than later, especially when they're like second and third, because they have the easiest schedule at some point all the way out. And they're going to turn it on at some point.
All right,
they have a 180-year-old manager, but they're going to turn it on.
So right now, the Guardians are 4.5 back, and the White Sox are 5 back in the division.
Okay, but get this. The White Sox are minus 122 to win the division. The Twins are plus 125.
Yeah, I mean,
okay, I like it, Smitty. I like it, Smitty. That's the line's telling you that, and the Guardians are 8 back, so that's what it's telling you. It's going to go up now.
4.5.
Yeah, Smitty, that's a good. Or I meant plus 800. That's a good line, Smitty. That's a really good eye. Best bet.
Astros. I mean, you look at the Astros. They come off a loss yesterday. They're gonna mash. I would feel comfortable going my best bet. I'm taking all of these. I would feel comfortable minus 1.5. It's like minus 115. I would feel comfortable with the team total over. But it's best bet. I'm here to give a lock. Verlander over 5.5 Ks. I think Verlander goes 7-8 strong. If he goes 7-8 strong, he might get 16 Ks. So Verlander. He's been dominant as ever this season, which is amazing because he's 60 years old. Verlander over 5.5 Ks, but I like the Astros up and down.
All right, so then we should do this. I should start doing this more live. The over, Colorado, San Fran, Verlander strikeouts over 5.5, and the Cleveland Guardians is plus 506
in game 1. Guardians game
1. If you want to get nuts and add the Astros, it's plus 679. For a parlay. That's featured under the parlay plus because you still have the strikeout. So that's where we're going with that. Hit parade, Smitty, I'm interested in I kind of stepped up for Carl here. I'm going to give 2. Yordan Alvarez for the Astros, which makes sense. You love the Astros. He's hitting 288 this year, 400 versus Flexen. And my favorite Met, I love the guy. Marte's hitting 385 versus Yu Darvish, 278 this year. He's really, really good. He's jacked up. I love the way when he hits, it feels like we win. So the Mets tonight, I feel like, still rolling in hot. They'll get it done. Ev, who are you adding for the third? And then if we get nuts, we can add Smitty's.
I put in Ronald Acuna Jr. I mean, the guy's just been red hot. He's finally playing every day, leading off. He's batting like 313. He had 4 hits the other day. I just like guys like he's finally getting a rhythm. Like he's starting every day now. He's swinging a hot stick. And just we're trying to cash tickets here. I'm not trying to get too cute with it. I always say like. Almost how Marty was doing is like just good players score, like just good players get hits. Like I'm always just like, give me the hot stick, good player, top of the lineup, gonna get at least 4 or 5 at bats. You think? Really like Acuna in this spot.
No, it's tough though because we haven't been getting cute. I feel like we've been putting in the right guys.
No, we haven't. No, we haven't.
Going, we were like, hey, this guy's gonna get a lot of at bats. Like, who was the guy the other night? France that he had like fucking 5 at bats. Like Riley,
that was
whatever.
Tough. That was tough.
Yeah, it's how we go, but we're in the right spot. We're usually going 2 out of 3, definitely 1 out of 3 early. Like we're doing well. Smitty, if you had to pick a guy to get a hit or to add this for a 4th leg, who do you like?
100% Acuna. 100%.
Really?
He's projected to absolutely slay tonight. I would pick him multiple hits if possible or multiple bases.
What does he hit at dinger? What does he hit at home run?
Probably like plus 350, 400.
That makes sense.
Like,
all right.
Pretty high. I do have a bet with Smitty today for all the Philly people out there or beyond. Bryce Harper hit. I mean, it's the Vegas boys. Bryce Harper and Bryson Stott to get a hit. The Phillies win in Milwaukee. Great odds. It's being priced right now. It's the Vegas boys, baby. Can't go wrong.
Okay.
Vegas, baby.
All right, so the hit parade is at plus 190. Bet with Smitty. The parlays we talked about were very hot with best bets. Extra innings here. We'll keep it a little bit loose. Smitty, I have a question for you. So I drove past a neighborhood school yesterday. They had field day. Did your hardo, like softball and shit, did that go to – like when did you develop as a hardo as a kid?
my hardo basically extends from having 2 older brothers. So I have a 7-year-old. I'm the youngest, and my 2 older brothers are 7 and 8 years older than me. And I got the shit kicked out of me up until I was, 14, 15 years old, and I finally became taller than them. And the tide started to turn a little bit. That's mostly where my hardo came from, especially with like video game stuff that like we could be equal at, seemingly. Like when I was 6, 7, 8, and played Mario Kart and get into fights, and then we had a ping pong table and a pool table, and then wiffle ball outside. So that's where my hardo comes from.
Yeah, I could just see that, him getting a couple of demerits at a field day for fucking telling Susie she can't run. Like that's where I see Smitty, but I get a laugh out of that.
Exactly. And I don't like. I don't want to claim I like base this off anything because it's like acting, and it's not that. But like whenever I need like a funny line during like a Never Go Hardo video, I just think of what my middle brother Kevin like would do or say, because he is the biggest fucking hardo of all time when it comes to shit that doesn't matter. We never, ever, ever once completed a board game at full, because that table would be fucking flipped, win or lose by Kev, like halfway through. Like it's something. It's like to behold.
All right, Ev, field day for young Big Ev in field day. What 3 events are we parlaying where like this ain't losing? This a can't lose parlay.
Free throw. So back at my school, it was called Jelly Bean Field Day.
Okay.
So for each thing, it was like you get like 1, 2, or 3 for each event, and the big thing was like you throw like a perfect game, like of all the events, you get 90 jelly beans. It only had happened like a few times in the history of the school. My one friend who. This is how good of an athlete he had to be. He got drafted by the Red Sox when we were like seniors in high school. He was, I believe, the only one who did it. Shout out Quinn Carpenter, one of the greatest athletes in Goshen High School history. And like it was, so for me, I was always a good shooter in basketball. I was a heavy-set kid, but always could make the team because of a good jumper. Like I won I think when I was like 12, I came in like second in like New York State in a free throw shooting competition. I won like county, like Hudson Valley, all these. So put me at the charity stripe. I wasn't missing. Those were the ones like. Anything with like hand-eye I always had good like hand-eye coordination. Anything with those, I was good at. It was the problem when I had to run a little bit, like stuff like that. Obviously, came up with some issues there, but hand-eye coordination stuff, I was like catching stuff, like putting stuff in the hoop, whatever. Like I was good at that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I don't want to stereotype, but you were definitely a marquee free agent for the tug of war too. No.
Oh yeah, well, see, for ours it was very like. Ours was very like one-on-one, like it was you versus like the obstacle. Like there wasn't really like team stuff. Like that was like it was all about like the goal. Like especially as a kid who was in the sports, like I wanted like 90 jelly beans bad.
Okay.
Like I probably was the guy that probably ended up in like the 60s, 70s, which is like pretty good, like good athlete, but like didn't have like because there was somewhere like you had to do like cartwheels and like that kind of stuff was an issue for me. Like I wasn't busting out a cartwheel.
All right.
So that kind of stuff, that was where like I'd lose a couple of jelly beans here and there.
Yeah, the only one I really had was in grammar school. It was Spirit Week, and I think they would assign you a color. I forget what the actual day is. Now it's gonna bother me. I'll text my siblings. But like it would be the yellow team and the 6. So like, and it was all grades, and you had no idea who was like when you would get on the bus when they would announce it on like Monday and it was Wednesday. It'd be like, yo, Smitty, are you yellow? Like a 6th grade, like a marquee, like 6th grader. Like, oh, and we got Ev. Like, yo, we're loaded. I don't know how the nuns broke it up. I still don't know how they knew who was athletic and who wasn't. I assume the teachers, whatever. I would like to think somewhere in an alternate universe there was a side pot. Like the teacher's like, yo, I got the blue team, and you have to cover my detentions for the whole spring next year if they win. I would like to think that happens, but I don't know. But that's kind of how it was. So we had like 60 kids like racing, get the pin, put it back, like sit down. It was a whole fucking thing. But the 1 versus 1 is actually interesting. That they would do that. That wouldn't fly today in today's day and age. I'll tell you that much.
Well, it wasn't one-on-one where, like, say you played one-on-one basketball as a kid. Say, for example, it would be like, for example, a throwing event. Like, how far can you throw a football with accuracy? So say there'd be like 1 cone, 2 cones, 3 cones. So like if you throw past the first cone, it's like 1 jelly bean, 2 jelly beans, 3. So it was like man versus obstacle. Like it was just like if you had a good enough arm, you could throw it past the 3rd cone. Like you got 3 jelly beans.
Oh, okay.
And that's like one. That was like one thing, and there's like a bunch of like different games like that.
All right.
Yeah, we had the tug of war suspended at our school. No more. I mean, you think as arms were coming out of sockets, people were losing fingers. Like, no, just no more tug of war.
That's how it goes. All right, that wraps up Hot Ice. That's a good one. We got to keep thinking of these as the school goes and summer camp. Maybe we just have Smitty on once a week at the end to just tell Hardo stories from field days.
Hey, if I go 2-0 on my bets, I expect to be back. Also, next time I come here, I want Richie Ashburn in a bunt stance as my guy.
Okay, got it. All right, all right. That's Hot Ice. Bet with us. We'll get you all the props as they go. See you guys on Thursday.